Hey, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society Podcast, reminding you that this podcast is a member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Check out all the other great podcasts on the network at selfdefenseradio.net.
Welcome to Unload and Show Clear, the podcast about all things IDPA. And now, here's your host, President of the Non-Threat Assassination Squad, Lloyd Bailey.
Welcome to another episode of Unload and Show Clear, where we counter the media's negative image of gun culture by introducing you to the amazing men and women who are involved in IDPA, International Defensive Pistol Association. We're focusing on people, not politics. The everyday people from all walks of life, men and women who volunteer their time and effort, who spend their hard-earned dollars on travel, match fees, and gear to make this sport great. They're your doctors. They clean your teeth. They're fixing your houses, taking care of your pets. They fix your computers and pilot your planes, and they protect our streets and our nation. They are gun culture at its finest, and it's misunderstood or completely unknown to the mainstream media. Today, I'm going to introduce you to another one of these awesome people. But first, I want to thank today's sponsor. I'm really excited and honored to be able to say that today's show is brought to you by the Blue Bullets. Why am I so excited? Well, for one, the Blue Bullets make cost-effective, quality bullets specifically designed for competitive shooters. Two, they're big supporters of the shooting sports because they're competitive shooters themselves. And three, because I'm a customer and I believe in their products. Using their own polymer-based liquid coating that they mix in-house, Blue Bullets are designed to prevent barrel leading, to reduce smoke, and yet they're priced comparably to other uncoated lead bullets. And unlike uncoated lead bullets, the Blue Bullets are Glock safe. How did they do that? They did that by spending 6 years developing a coating and a process that ensures consistency and quality. I can tell you from my own experience that while I usually don't perform very well at matches, the Blue Bullets never let me down. Visit thebluebullets.com today. Tell them you heard about it on Unload and Show Clear by using this promo code BBUSC at checkout, and you will save 5% off of your order. The Blue Bullets, family owned and operated by competitors who know what you want in competition bullets. Check them out at thebluebullets.com. Our special guest today is Heath Moore from Amarillo, Texas. Heath, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you here. Tell us a little about yourself. Tell us what you do for a living there in Amarillo.
I am a disabled veteran who's now a stay-at-home dad to 5-year-old and 4-year-old boys at the moment.
Well, that's work. That's a lot of work.
That is a lot of work at during some of the times.
So, thank you for your service, by the way. Tell us, what's the kind of give us an idea about how you were injured and the nature of the disability, and how does it affect your ability to get out and enjoy shooting?
I've had 2 neck surgeries. My C3 and C4 got fused first, and then C5 to C7 the second surgery. The first surgery, no idea exactly how it happened, just that it had to have happened while deployed.
Mm-hmm.
My job was to load and unload aircraft every day. And at the time, probably felt like a pulled muscle and then went away and felt fine. I was probably back from deployment 5 months and started having neck pains. And 2 months worth of appointments and testing and scanning, I had my first neck surgery.
So a repetitive use kind of injury.
Probably, yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of heavy lifting, pushing, pulling.
Right.
So, I mean, most likely it was service connected, but hey, no proof.
Right.
The second injury happened exactly 3 months after my first surgery, when the Army had me do their physical fitness test, which which I didn't even make it halfway through before I pretty much collapsed to the ground. And they took me to the VAER and had a CT scan and x-rays done and showed that I got re-injured.
Oh man.
But hey, I got, I finally had proof that at least now there was happened on military time.
Right.
So I was able to start my disability process with the VA while in the Army Reserves.
Gotcha. How long did you serve?
Served for 8 years in the reserves, and only 3 of that, technically, I was healthy.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Other 5 was spent on what we would all call dead man profile. Wasn't allowed to do nothing.
So originally from the Panhandle of Texas, or are you a Texas transplant?
Transplant. I'm actually from Oklahoma, but my dad was in the military 2 times.
Okay.
And of course, his last duty station was at Fort Hood. And when he got out, we moved up here to Amarillo.
How old were you then?
15.
Okay. Had you gotten much exposure to guns, or hunting, competitive shooting, any of that kind of stuff as a kid, or was it your time in the military?
Most of it was spent just in the military. I mean, that was just with any sort of training or range time. As far as handguns, not really.
Right. What was your introduction to handguns? Obviously, Army, it's typically, unless your MOS has you, using a handgun, usually it's, security or police or special forces. But for the most part, you're using a rifle. Where did you get the exposure to handguns?
As soon as I came back from my deployment, and while I was on active orders still, that's when I put in to get my concealed carry license.
Okay.
Because at that time, the state fee was waived if you're on active orders.
Nice.
So I was just happening to pay for the actual class.
Right.
So that's when it started in 2011.
Okay.
In the fall of 2011.
And that's back before the legislature dropped the cost down to what, $40 now. So it was
Correct.
It was still kind of expensive to get the license back then. What was the motivation to get the carry license? Was it just because you could? Everybody has a different story about why they do it, right? Why they go out and buy a gun or why they get their carry permit. They've either had something happen to them that said, oh, hey, I need to take care of my security, my safety, or protect my family. Or it's, I want to take advantage of my Second Amendment rights. I'm old enough to do it now. I'm able to do it financially. What was your motivation?
At that time, it was just because I could.
Right.
Nothing bad, happened. It was just, I figured, hey, I'm back. It's something I can do. Plus, if I do it while I'm on orders, then I save half the cost.
Right.
I had about a 3-month window.
What was the first handgun that you bought? What did you buy for concealed carry?
My very first one was a Glock 21.
Oh, wow.
Back, I didn't know nothing about guns other than, hey, everyone likes Glocks. I went and got a Glock.
And you got the biggest one you could get.
I mean, I just went and got a Glock. I wasn't smart. I didn't know.
How long before you figured out that wasn't exactly the most concealable gun in the world?
Oh, it didn't take long. I wound up adding just a revolver to add for just concealed carry for the meantime.
Right. How did you find out about competitive shooting? Where did that interest come from?
That was something that my dad picked up doing here in Amarillo while I was deployed, if I'm remembering right. And when I came back, I remember going to just a handful of local stuff in the span of like 3-4 years. But I think during that time I only went to maybe like 3-4. It just wasn't something that interested me at that time.
Right.
But once I started reloading, the interest started to pick up on me because it was cheaper you could shoot more for the price.
Right.
And that wasn't until September. Let's see, 3 years this coming September.
Right. So you joined IDPA in 2016. Or what do you remember of the first match that you actually went to and competed in for yourself, not just going to watch your dad shoot?
It was actually the both. Watched him and shot one. And it was this year sometime he shared his memory from that many years ago of their very first one. And you could really tell I didn't know what in the world I was doing and moved slow as a snail. It's still an eye opener seeing that video.
Yep. I totally understand. I've got video from my very first one, and it's an absolute dumpster fire. But you decided this was something you wanted to continue doing. What did you take away from that first match, and what did you do to try to get better?
When it finally stuck, it was in 2016, and it was a local outdoor match, and I don't know what made it click after that match that I was like, this is something I really want to get into. And I mean, the next month was they held a 8-stage match to kind of give people a feel of a major match. I mean, that was my second match. And I wasn't classified yet, but I pulled in first SSP unclassified anyways. Out of 40 some odd people, I did 20th. And I was just like, this is something I really want to do. And at that point, it kind of started as just as a hobby, really. That was it. And now this is daddy time. This is get out of the house, go have some daddy time, recoup, get my sanity back, kind of type deal back, and come back, fresh.
I got you. Okay. So this is
it's my therapy.
This is your therapy. This is me time. Okay. But you've also taken it's not just, okay, I'm going to do this and relax and enjoy my time at the range. You have gotten, this year you have bumped to master. Talk about what it took to get from 22nd out of 40, top unclassified sharpshooter or stock service pistol to master in stock service pistol, and juggling that with your responsibilities as a dad. What did it take? What did you do to improve?
Well, once I realized that I don't have, at that time, as soon as I realized I didn't have the time like most people had to actually go practice or travel more because of me being a stay-at-home dad.
Right.
Once I kind of got that mentality of that part down, of my time will come, and as long as I made a point of getting everything I could out of a practice session or dry firing, and I just put in the work. I mean, I got close once or twice last year, and at the start of this year in Houston, I thought that was a dumpster fire. That was not a way to start the year. But the very next match was Wichita Falls, and that's when I went from to ESP Master.
Very good.
That was a stressful 3-4 days before that match. To be able to come out with that was special. I shot that match for our youngest boy because he got admitted to the hospital that Tuesday before for originally was a stomach bug to wound up. He got so severely dehydrated, he got admitted to the hospital for having a seizure.
Oh my. And
when he got discharged from the hospital on that Friday morning, that's when I got in the car and started making my way to the Wichita match.
Talk about that day. I was there. Didn't get to shoot with you, but talk about what you remember of your performance that day and overall impression of the match. What do you remember about? I know it's a special memory for you. So, did it all just come together? Was it knowing that your son was gonna be okay? Did it just sort of like what was going through your mind, and how did it affect your match? What were you feeling as you worked your way through that match?
When I got there that Saturday morning, I mean, it was just emotional because I was, I didn't know till that day before if I was going to make it or not to the
Mm-hmm.
match. I was scheduled to work the match, but I had a chance just to be a shooter, and which in a way I'm grateful that things worked out how it is, because that's how the East Texas crew, they adopted me, because I was shot in their squad that day. I
It's a
mean,
good bunch.
that is a great bunch. And just the people that you meet on social media and at matches, and then seeing you at that match going, hey, we've been praying for y'all. We've been praying for your son. I mean, that just sends a rush of emotions through you, just because there's that camaraderie. That's, to me, I always look at competitive shooting. I mean, it's a brother and sisterhood to me, like the military was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another reason why I like doing it. But as far as just that whole match and that match performance, I mean, I don't think I had. I was just there to shoot. I was just there to shoot for him. Shoot to. I mean, had a lot of stress and anger I had to get out, and just to go and let go. And I mean, and when I saw how I finished in the match, I was always aware of just out of every 9 in your division,
Mm-hmm.
that's how you bump. That's all I ever looked at. And I was like, oh man, came in second. Well, okay. I didn't even know I got a bump till the next day.
Oh, God.
When everyone's like, no, you got it. Because you also beat X amount of masters. And I look up the rule book. Hey, sure enough, there that is. Like, oh, hey, congrats. Yay. But I mean, just for that match, it was just not how I typically shot matches. I had a goal in mind. That one, I was just happy to be there. I was happy my son was better, and I was happy to get to shoot and get all that stress worked out.
And not focusing so much on where you were finishing. Not, I think I may have talked about this in the past. There was a time, I think it was 2 years ago, it kind of clicked, where I went to Arkansas State and had just an pretty average start to my match. 4 stages in, I get DQ'd because my gun won't fit in the box. And I finished the rest of the match, right? I was just there to have fun. The same sort of attitude I think that maybe you took to Wichita Falls, where it's just like, I'm just here to shoot and have a good time. And I didn't get stressed about things that went wrong. And I had the second half of my match was great. And the rest of my season was great, because I realized if you have that attitude, like, I'm here to have a good time and shoot to the best of my ability, and I'm not going to stress over it, right? There are worse things. You could be sitting at home and your son's still in the hospital, but you're there at the match, and you're having a good time, enjoying the good company of the East Texas guys, and shooting guns. What could be better? And letting go of all that stress. Sometimes something clicks.
It just happened to click that day.
So since what are you shooting nowadays? What since giving up the Glock 21 EDC, what are you shooting in competition?
Right now, for stock service pistol, I'm shooting a CZ75 SP01 tactical.
Ah, nice.
And for ESP, I was just shooting the same gun, but it was a safety version.
Oh, okay.
So essentially, it's the same gun, other than just having a safety
In single action.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about your neck injury and having those vertebrae fused. How does that injury manifest itself in terms of, or does it affect your shooting at all?
Not really affecting shooting per se, but it's just as far as how fast I'm able to move point A to point B from stage to stage,
Mm-hmm.
because my neck can't take all that high impact.
Okay.
But if I find like the middle ground, and if I just do that for the rest of the, do that for a whole match, I'm pretty fine.
So you figure out your balance of speed and precision kind of thing, where it's, okay, I can go this fast and it won't hurt, but if I push too far, it's gonna.
Correct.
Gotcha. How do you find that? Is it just a matter of, do you start
trial by error?
I started to
Trial
say.
by error. It took a lot. After I find what my trial by error, what that speed is, as far as when it's just at the local, I found that speed out locally.
Okay.
Because I did a solid almost year and a half of just local. And then last year, 2018 was my first year of doing majors. And it took about definitely the second. It took by New Mexico last year at the Scorcher when I finally found that middle ground of this is how fast I can move throughout the whole match and not be in a lot of pain by the end of it.
Gotcha. Last year was the first season that you spent shooting major matches the whole for most of the year. What do you remember about last year? Obviously, this year we had the bump to master at the Silver Dollar. What do you remember about last year and that whole sort of trial and error process and shooting more majors for the first time? What do you remember from last year's performances and matches that you were involved in?
I went into last year not put it. The goal was just to, out of those 5 matches, if I can just get one bump. But instead of just looking for that, it was learning how just to get a little bit more efficient. Meeting all the new people and all the friendships that have been made since last year, and getting the opportunity to squad with a lot of great shooters and just watching them asking questions and advice. That's what I still to this day, even in Colorado this past weekend, that's what I did, was ask questions and just learn. Yes, I might, I got a bump this year to master, but I've got a lot to learn still. Everyone does.
Right.
And just learning and watching how, okay, this is how I was going to shoot it, but hey, they did it this way. And you know what? That was actually probably smarter. And I just go into it still learning and just trying to keep the mentality of I'm only shooting against me. That's hard to still get through a whole match doing. But once I get in that right frame of mind of I'm competing against myself, have some fun while you're doing it, the match just becomes a whole lot. It just becomes a whole lot more fun.
Yep.
I really learned that part on the second day of Colorado of just having a lot more fun versus the first day of trying to being serious and this is what I got to do. But I had more fun the second day. I did better the second day.
That, or is there something else that through that first year up to now, all of last year, and then what you've gone through this year? What would you say is the biggest thing the most important thing that you've learned that's helped you improve?
To shoot my game. Once I got in the mindset of shoot my game, don't chase anybody. Don't try to play anyone else's game. If I just did me, that's when I found my match performances to be better.
Yeah, it's particularly for new shooters, and I remember it's really easy to get on a squad with shooters who are better, and you should because you can learn a lot from them. But there's the temptation to try to shoot like them.
Yeah.
When you can't.
I learned that. I learned that at the Scorcher last year.
Tell us about that. What happened?
I tried to chase old Elias.
Oh.
Good grief. The guy's a world champion. Tried to chase him, and that did not go too well. And once I got out of the mindset of stop chasing people and don't shoot third game, shoot my game, you're going to do all right.
Yeah. What would you say at this point is the strong part of your game? What have you feel like is your strength, And what would you say you still need the most work on?
My greatest is if there's any sort of movement, really, at least from point A to point B. That's where I feel like I'm strong at. But my weak game is, of course, the long game. That's what I still to this day, still got to work on, and Colorado showed that in the standard stage.
Is that 40-yard standards? So, what was
it was
long.
It was 35 or 40. staggered targets. And yeah, I walked away from that match going, I need to work on my 25 plus easily.
Right. When you come up to a stage and you look it over, is there a kind of stage you say, all right, this is a Heath Moore stage. This is my kind of stage. What kind of thing do you look at and you say, all right, this is going to be fun. This is what I'm good at. What's your kind of stage?
Anything with maybe 3 positions and up to 20 yards. Those are I like those stages. And if it's even closer, then like there was a stage in Colorado, I think it was called the Gauntlet, maybe. I never looked at my sights on that stage. Because everything was within 3-4 yards, if that. It was just literally point and shoot. It was a blast. I think it was close 19 rounds in 10 something seconds.
Right.
Didn't look at my sights. It was a clean stage. But even seeing how I did overall compared to who came in number first, I think there wasn't even a second. There wasn't a lot of room in there. It was a very, very fast stage.
Oh, wow. Is there anything besides the standard stuff that everybody takes to a match in their range bag? Is there something that you absolutely have to take with you that you just won't go to the match without taking in your range bag, and why?
I've been told I pack too much to go to the range. I have everything in my range bag. If almost any scenario goes bad, I've got the quick fix. You name it, I think I've got it in my bag. I've been told I pack too much, but I'd rather have it and not need it than
right.
What if? And I didn't bring it with me that trip.
Yep.
So I almost, with how I pack, I probably could be one of the people they say you pack the kitchen sink, and I probably would.
Yep. I unfortunately I left a whole bunch of stuff. I went to Memphis and I left a whole bunch of stuff at home. Didn't find out until I got to the hotel the night before. I was like, oh well. Hopefully nothing breaks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're a master in ESP, and I think I misstated that earlier. What's the next goal for you?
The next big goal is, of course, I'm shooting SSP now.
Okay.
I've been the closest I've been to it this year is 3 seconds.
Oh wow!
3 seconds. If I would have just had 1 miss instead of 2 at that match, I would have had the bump.
Oh.
So that's the goal next year. But really, the goal next year is to go to nationals and be working on my compact carry master.
Okay.
I've already got that gun up and ready to go. I'm just waiting for SSP to get done.
I like it. So what is it about this sport that you like so much? There's other things that if you like just a pure shooting challenge, then there's other things, obviously. But what is it about IDPA that interests you, that keeps you trying it, that keeps you working at getting better at it and trying to achieve those match bumps? What is it you love about IDPA?
I love the people. I've gotten to shoot with just the amount of people you get to shoot with and learn from. To me, that's been the biggest takeaway. Because if I didn't shoot with all of them and take in any of the knowledge that I had, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I mean, it's just the people, it's the friendship, the camaraderie. That's what keeps me going back.
You're not the first veteran to mention the camaraderie and the way it reminds you of your time in service. Speak to that for a moment. What is that something, once you get out of the military, not having served myself, so I don't not experienced it, I don't understand it. Is there a way in which that camaraderie in IDPA sort of mirrors or reminds you or makes you feel the way you did with that sort of being with your guys when you were actively serving in the Army?
I mean, it reminds me. Everyone jokes, I can't wait to get out of the military. Can't wait. I'm not going to miss any of it. And the first thing I missed was just the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the sisterhood of everyone. And I could not fill that void at all until I got into IDPA. And then that's when it came back. That keeps me coming back, keep coming back.
It's like a big family.
Oh, it is.
Well, Heath, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm really glad that you decided that you'd come on. I hope before long we get a chance to see each other on the range. And
I imagine we will.
Thank you again for coming on.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
All right, that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank our guest for coming on the show and our sponsors for making all of this possible. Take a moment, if you would, to check out the website, check out our show notes at unloadpodcast.com. We've got lots of interviews with more amazing guests like the one you heard today. Join our Facebook group at unloadpodcast.com/Facebook for all the latest updates and to connect with other fans of the show. And if you'd like to support the show, we sure would appreciate it. Consider becoming a patron at unloadpodcast.com/extra. I've got some full-length interviews and special content available there exclusively for patrons as well. And if you know somebody or you yourself would make an interesting guest for a future episode of Unload and Show Clear, please contact me at lloyd@unloadpodcast.com or click on the contact page on the website and send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Tune in again next time for another episode of Unload and Show Clear.